Good morning, humans. XZanthia here, and this is what I made yesterday, kind of shoulder pad thing. And I'm going to be making the skirt today. This is for one of my upcoming music videos.
XZanthia's daily life.
Yeah, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bunch of these. I got a bunch of these bubbles right here like this, and I think I might even use zip ties to attach them like this. So that'll be my step one. Express yourself through art and music. Oh, well, I guess I'm gonna have to now. Oh, and I really want to thank everyone that has subscribed to my YouTube recently. Just Another Spooky Bitch, Flush Spark, Muggin Stars, Alexander Pollister, Kevin Crippen, John Pons, and Chris Corley. I really want to thank you for joining my Patreon. And if you would like me to make fun of you and pronounce your name wrong, please join my Patreon. Yay! Okay, so what I did here is I did zip tie all of these. And you know what? I wish I would have thought about that yesterday when I was putting these on, because I was using hot glue and, it was just like, and the B6000 glue. I'm guaranteed this is going to fall apart if I was trying to, do some crazy dancing. Luckily for me, it's just for my music videos. But this is a lot more sturdy. So in the future, I'll definitely be using more zip ties. And I actually even like how they all stick out and they're pokey like this. Now I have this other material that's absolutely fabulous, in my opinion. Here it is. See? Can't see. So I'm going to put this on the bottom part, I think. Oh no, look at the crying baby. Okay, so I know I'm going to be sewing this, and I can barely do anything with these beautiful, fabulous nails. And I don't even have nail clippers, but I have wire cutters, and I can't sew shit. Now I have pinching fingers, so I can pinch your butt. I'm going to pinch your butt. I'm going to get your butt.
Silken skirts and stolen stairs, shame for the spark that simmers there. School in silence, small and sweet, stifled spirit, shackled heat. Saints and sinners, same old script, sworn to serve but never slip. Still I sizzled, scarred and stood, shed the shame and said I
So I just thought about something interesting. So in the 70s, how it was like a large plethora of serial killers, especially here in the United States. And I was, wondering, through watching a lot of historical documentaries about serial killers, the 70s really just seemed to be, just a really intense period where it was just a thing that happened, unfortunately. And being that my mother was raised during that time and I was born in the late 70s, it was something that I heard about a lot as a child growing up. Now, luckily, these days, it's something that doesn't happen so often, probably because, obviously our technology has advanced. But, curious, with all the history of serial killers, which has always been a thing since the beginning of time, why was the 70s so intense? And a lot of it was, male egos against, the female in general, for one reason or another. And so you think of like the 50s, 20 years before, when these people are, being born, being raised, things along those lines. And it's when the women were first liberated, because women throughout history have always been owned by men. That's why we always took our husband's last names, Slaves always took the man's last name, the family name. And so we were always owned by men since the beginning of history. And I have a lot of songs about that. But so when women in the 50s first became liberated, started cutting their hair, started smoking cigarettes, very phallus, and wearing pants, getting jobs, things like that, unfortunately, a lot of these women, not having things like therapy or anything along those lines, had really been abused by men for a really long time, for their entire life, and did not know how to properly, appreciate that all men aren't that way. And unfortunately, a lot of them abused their male children, their sons. And so a lot of these serial killers, not all of them, but a lot of them, from what I've noticed, you know, had very domineering, horrible mothers, unfortunately. So it switched on them. So they were abused by men. So they abused men, which then abused women. It's really sad, but interesting. I don't know. What do you think about it? Leave me a comment. I'd be interesting in hearing. Interested. I'm interested. Thanks.
He says I seduce and scorns the show, sinks in softness, scared to know, struggles with the strength I sing, still he's starving for the sting. Why should the rules be askew for a dude? A woman craves too, it's not something crude. She burns with fire, full of desire. No guilt, no game, no scarlet shame. What's natural should wear no blame.
Okay, making this was stupid annoying. So then I was like,
Fuck that. That is way too much. I'm gonna buy some on Amazon instead. I'm gonna make some boots.
Suppressed, subdued, they said submit, but I spit out every syllable of it. Scars became symbols, sins became stories, and this body, my body, is sacred territory. I'm a slut, carve it in gold. I'm not afraid to break the mold. I dance in storms, I ride the heat. My hunger don't make me weak. You worship me, then try to shame me, but you'll never tame me. So go ahead and choke on my cut. I'm a slut and I love it. What?
They called me dirty. They called me wild. They taught me to be ashamed of what I am.
Subscribe, like, comment, subscribe.